Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian. And as you're probably aware from looking at the thumbnail and title of this video, we're going to be talking about the item Slow Smoke. Oh my god, I'm actually in love with this battle item. I've been finding so much success with it that I wanted to share with you guys, on top of the fact that I initially found out how good Slow Smoke is after watching a top Mr. Mime player in the new Spectate feature. Okay, if you don't know, if you press X at the home screen and you go all the way down, there's a Spectate thing, and you can watch high-level people play their games. And I was watching a Mr. Mime player. I don't know which one. It wasn't this one. But I was watching a Mr. Mime player, and I noticed they were using Slow Smoke. I'm like, why are they using Slow Smoke? And then I saw how effectively they were able to just use it for a multitude of different situations that I'm just like, I gotta try this. And I can't begin to express how much I really like the Slow Smoke until you give it a shot yourself and you kind of experiment with it. Because in a lot of situations, I kind of find the Slow Smoke to be better than Eject Button. And then in other situations, Eject Button to be better than Slow Smoke. It all kind of comes down to what Pokemon you're playing and what movesets you pick. And just to kind of boil it down, and I'll kind of go into the practice range here in just a second to kind of like showcase it a little bit. But just to kind of boil it down as a quick cheat sheet for any of you out there who want to give it a shot, the best way to think about it is that if your Pokemon does not have some sort of movement ability or CC, okay, then you probably want to go with Eject Button, just because Eject Button is more likely to get you out of a sticky situation better than Slow Smoke will, okay? Whereas if you have movement abilities or CC, stuns, anything with like stuns, mostly stuns, okay? Things that slow down movement speed are okay, but I think the stuns are a little bit better. So think of like Pokemon like here, I'll go into Pokemon. So think of Pokemon like Pikachu, for example, where he can paralyze people at a distance, or Alolan Ninetales, who can constantly freeze people at a pretty decent distance, okay? Kind of Gardevoir tool too, just because her Moonblast can stun people at a good distance, and early game you have to teleport anyways, which is also movement, so Gardevoir can also work too. Venusaur, if you use Petal Dance, because it speeds you up really fast. So a lot of like these type of Pokemon, even like Lucario, because he has all these like movement abilities. There's a lot of Pokemon that easily could do this. If you're using a movement ability or you have CC abilities with stuns, Slow Smoke is going to be really good, because then you can Slow Smoke effectively acts almost like a third ability on cooldown. Now let me go actually and take a look at Slow Smoke for you guys. You guys can kind of get more on my level. All right, so just to read it real quick, Slow Smoke, it's on a 40-second cooldown, which is already noticeably shorter than Eject Button, which is on a 55-second cooldown. Effectively, almost like every minute, you'll get your Eject Button back. Whereas Slow Smoke, you get every 40 seconds. So you're going to be able to use Slow Smoke more often than Eject Button just because of the lower cooldown. It creates a cloud of smoke that greatly decreases the movement speed of opposing Pokemon for a short time. It really slows them down. For any of you that have been playing, if you ever run into a Venusaur who's using Sludge Bomb or a Charizard that's using Fire Blast and you happen to walk into it, you notice how slow that you are when you walk in those abilities. Slow Smoke does the same thing. It makes them that slow for a brief period of time. And it has a pretty decent radius too around you when you use it, when you pop it. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about here is the fact that Slow Smoke basically can do the same job that Eject Button does if you're playing a Pokemon that can capitalize on it. On top of, Slow Smoke can also be used in the middle of fights, whereas to help secure a fight, whereas Eject Button cannot. Okay, Eject Button's primarily used right now as pretty much like a last resort escape tool or a last resort initiation tool. Okay, if that makes sense. Whereas, and that's kind of it. You don't really use eject button outside of that. All right, guys. So this is Brian for the future. I am currently with my friend Randula, and he's gonna be helping me showcase a lot of this. It's a lot easier to showcase a lot of these implications if I do it with a friend compared to doing with the bot in the practice range. Practice range it's very unpredictable, especially since the bot doesn't really play like a human, so it doesn't like play quite like what you would expect from a human being. So this should be a lot easier. So I kind of want to like show the different type of implications of slow smoke in a more kind of like realistic situation though. So that's what we'll be doing right here, because it's honestly pretty good. So the first implication is if you're using a Pokemon that already has like CC in their kit, having slow smoke almost effectively becomes like a third ability that you can use on cooldown, especially since slow smoke has a shorter cooldown duration than eject button does. Slow smoke only has 40 seconds on cooldown, whereas you have to wait 55 seconds to get your eject button back. So this is gonna make a simple illustration on like Snorlax, for example, because I think Snorlax is like a fantastic demonstration to this. So Randula, go ahead and just like stand in the middle as if like you're taking out wild Pokemon, the bees or something. Okay, so I'm at my base. Randula's in the middle. He pretending he's taking out the wild bee Pokemon, and I'm gonna come at him. I'm gonna try and engage a fight. I'm gonna try and force him into my territory to make it easier for me and my teammates to knock him out. Okay, pretend I have teammates. So I don't have any teammates right now. It's just us two. So I'm gonna come after him. Okay, initiate with body slam. As he lands, pops smoke, and now I can almost guarantee to push him towards my goalpost, make it easier to force him out of position and help my teammates secure the knockout. Whereas if I didn't have the slow smoke, it would have been, I could have still pulled off the combo, but it's not as guaranteed, especially if they have because they're more likely to be able to just skirt around my block, for example. Or maybe I won't have enough distance between me and Randula here to actually be able to get an effective block off. Because sometimes there are situations where like if we're right on top of the other and I pop off a block, sometimes they'll like phase through you and like end up behind you. It didn't work that time, but sometimes it does happen. If you play Snorlax or you played against a Snorlax, you might notice that happens sometimes. So applying the slow smoke right there helps guarantee that I get an effective block off. And that's just a simple example. Another good example is the same situations that you would use an eject button, for example, which is most commonly used as a getaway tool, as a I like to call it the oh shit button, essentially. So in this situation, I'm gonna have Randula go to your goalpost real quick, Randula. Randula's gonna chase me. Okay, and what you'll notice right here is that in combination with my heavy slam, I'm gonna slow him down and use heavy slam to get away, creating way more distance to get away because it's than I would just using an eject button. Okay, so go ahead and send your goalpost real quick and just go ahead and start chasing me like you would in real life. Okay. Oh no, do it again. All right, let's try this again. All right, in 3, 2, 1, start chasing me. Okay, pop slow smoke. I can use heavy slam to get away. Creates a good distance between me and the enemy. In that type of situation, the only way they can remotely try and keep up is if they waste their own cooldowns. They would probably have to, if they have eject button, they would probably have to waste an eject button and maybe some other type of movement ability to get away compared to just using an eject button. For me, if I was in this situation, instead of me just pressing eject button, because of the fact that especially a lot of physical damage dealers like Cinderace in this situation, players would typically have float stone on them to increase their movement speed. So in those longer lanes, let's say both of our goalposts were knocked down in this situation, it creates longer lanes where like chases tend to happen for a longer period of time. The person with the float stone is more likely to catch up with you than you are to get away. So slow smoke helps kind of counter the float stone and even more so. Whoa, why am I walking? So slow smoke is really useful in that situation. It's also good too that if they're trying to run away on their own, so like just go ahead and try to run away, Randula. Okay. No, like they slow down enough that I can still kind of like keep up with them without having to waste any of my abilities. So it's even more it's more effective when you play with a character that already has CC, because then you can CC them, catch up a little bit, and then pop the slow smoke to keep them on, so you can stay on top of them, and probably even give teammates enough time to help gang up on that one person. So slow smoke can be used in a good amount of situations, very similar to Eject Button, but with the added bonus being that you get slow smoke more often than Eject Button, just because it has a shorter cooldown rate. On top of, you can actually use it for team fights. So I find slow smoke way more effective. I find myself probably almost spamming my slow smoke off cooldown now because of how many different implications I can use it in compared to Eject Button. Like I said before, Eject Button feels more like an oh shit button more than anything else. And I find myself not using the Eject Button as often in a game. I probably only use it like a handful of times in a single game, to be honest, if you have good positioning. Whereas with slow smoke, because I can use it as a disengagement tool, an engagement tool, I can use it in a fight, or I can use it as an assassination tool to help secure the person in place to effectively get enough damage in to get that knockout. I find slow smoke just way better for good variety of situations. One thing I did, just like I said at the beginning too, though, I highly recommend that you only really use slow smoke on Pokemon that already have movement or CC. CC is probably gonna be a little bit better, just because you're more guaranteed to actually like get these situations off a little bit easier, especially for the assassination department. But movement abilities are still good too, because just kind of like what I showed, you can slow smoke them and then use movement to get away a little bit easier, a little bit better compared to just using an eject button, which is at the same time too, for initiations too, for movement. Like think Absol, for example. If you popped the Night Slash on somebody to engage on them, they're trying to run away, you can pop the slow smoke to keep them in place for a little bit and get some extra damage in. So really good overall. It's on a shorter cooldown, so you can use it more often. You're able to use it in more fights. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment on the video. It really helps me out. It helps that you support the channel. I'm trying to pump out a Pokemon Unite video almost once every day if possible. So if you enjoyed this type of thing, please consider giving a like and a follow. Really appreciate it. But other than that, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.